Here's a 2006 Mercedes E320 CDI diesel, and we are going to be looking at the injectors. Alright, I've already loosened the covers, so we'll take those off. So what we can see here is the insulation pieces have pretty much disintegrated, and if we look at the 6 injectors there, they are all coated in a black tar-like substance. This is a sign of one or more, in this case more, of these injectors. The seal is leaking. They're no longer held down tightly, and combustion gases and byproducts of the injection and burning are leaking past the seal, up the injector hole and out the top here. So we are going to attempt to clean this up enough so that we can determine which injectors are leaking, and then we're going to show how we're going to pull these injectors. Okay, I'm going to start by trying to blow out as much of the burnt foam as I can, and then try to pick away any easy large chunks initially. I should mention, when you're doing this kind of work, to make sure that you're wearing some safety glasses, as this stuff blows everywhere and can get in your eyes. Okay, we're gonna start the car now and see if we can't determine which of these injectors is leaking. Number 3, very clearly leaking out of there. The others might be leaking as well, but that one is clearly very bad. And we're going to try to clean up a little more around here. Okay, we've got it cleaned up pretty, maybe okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drive it up on this ramp on one side, just to try to level out the injectors so they're straightened up and down. And the reason I'm doing that is, you'll see later, the particular tool I have for pulling the injectors, the plate works a little better if it's the injectors are close to vertical. So let me do that now. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to start the car up and run it for a while, and try to get things up to operating temperature. And once it's up to operating temperature, I'm going to remove the injector line and also the return and the electrical, and see if I can get my tool in there after removing the hold down bolt and clamp, and try and pull that injector out. Okay, so we've got all the injector lines disconnected from the injectors. All of the hold down bolts are loose. We've got all of the hold down clamps out except 2, number 1 and number 3. Okay, so what I've got here is a puller tool I got off of, I think it was eBay or AliExpress. It's not exactly made for this car, so what I had to do was machine down each side a little bit to allow it to slip in the cover to get around where it pulls on the injector. So we're going to try to get that on number one there. And we'll try, see if it'll come out by the slide hammer. If not, we're going to show you another technique. Okay, so on the number one cylinder, it doesn't quite go in past the cover, so hopefully I haven't weakened it too much, but I ground off a little bit on the side. Okay, we have the puller tool around the injector, and we'll give it a few whacks with this and see if it'll come out. And if not, we'll show you the other method. Okay, so this may come out with further hammering, but perhaps not so easily. So I'm going to show you now the other method. And basically, I'll have to remove a few things. And once I have it set up, I'll return to the video. Okay, so I'm going to install a puller on here so that we can pull this number one injector out. I removed this oil fill component, and I just have it off to the side here, and took out 2 bolts there just so I could flip up the wiring harness. So what I have here is 6-inch long 3/8 extensions with E10 sockets on, and I'm going to put them into on top of the cylinder head cover where it bolts into the cylinder head. Okay, so what I have here is a 10-inch by 16-inch plate that I've drilled a number of 3/4-inch holes in the top. And so I'm just going to support this on these standoffs, try to get it somewhat level. And this is the reason why I have the car up on ramps on one side, is just to make it a little easier to put this plate on top. Okay, so I got that in place. I've got a 4-inch channel iron, also with a 3/4-inch hole drilled in the top. I'm just going to feed that through there into our injector puller here. Okay, we've got that going through there now. It's probably not critical I go all the way down. All right. Next, I've got a couple bottle jacks that are labeled 8 ton. I don't know if they actually 8 ton, but I guess we'll find out. I'm just going to screw that up in the length of that there. Okay, got that fairly level. Turn this down a little more. Okay, so now we're going to try to slowly go up on this jack here, which will pull the rod which is connected to our tool there. And I'm going to try to keep it square with these standoffs there. Again, I don't know if these jacks are any good or not, but we're going to find out. Okay, so if you look at the injector there, as I pull on here, very slowly it's pulling up. Not too much difficulty. Okay. So sometimes these injectors can be really stuck in there. This one was not too bad. We're going to try this on the number 3 injector and number 6, which are also stuck in there. Okay, we're going to remove number 3 injector now. I've already put the clamp around the injector. I did have to use some penetrating fluid to get the hold down clamp out of there. So again, following the same approach, I've got these extensions with E10 sockets attached, and I'm just putting them on top of the cylinder head cover. We'll see if this spacing works. And this side's going to be a little more tricky because, let's see here, one there, and then here. All right. Okay, so if you look at the injector, it is starting to slowly move up. There we are. Okay. That's our leaky injector. Okay, we have one more to go, number 6 on the end there. So we'll take a pause and we'll set it up and pull that one out as well. Okay, we're going to pull out the 6th injector now. We've got it up about an inch or so, so we'll take this off and just slide hammer or whatever the rest of the way. And that is the number 6 injector. Okay, so we'll clean up the cover and ream new seats, clean up our injectors, and torque down with new hold down clamp bolts. So this is pretty much ends the removal of the injectors from the Mercedes with 188,000 miles on it. Okay, so we have it all put back together now, and that's fairly straightforward. The only thing that I'll mention is that it's very important to clean out the holes that the hold down bolts go into. If you have crud at the bottom of them, the bolts won't go all the way in and you risk stripping the threads of the hold down bolts. So what I use is this 3/16 long drill bit. I just put it in and spin it by hand and then just pull it out occasionally and clean off the crud that's in there. So do that for all 6. If you can go to the bottom and there's nothing on it, then you're good to go. Anyway, the car's back together now and running great. So thank you for watching. Okay, so here are the tools that we're going to use to remove the injectors on the Mercedes E320 with the OM648 engine. This is a injector puller tool off of eBay or AliExpress, I don't remember which. It's about 40 bucks. This is not for the OM64 engine, so what I had to do was grind it down a little bit to make it fit, especially for the number 1 injector. So again, about 40 bucks for this tool. Additionally, so it does have a slide hammer. I sometimes use that, but most of the time I use these 6 essentially standoffs. They are 3/8 inch, 6 inch extensions plus E10 sockets that I put on the heads of the bolts that are on the cover for the cylinder head. This is a 10 inch by 16 inch. Looks like about 3/4 inch thick, and I've drilled 3 holes in it, and that's to put the slide tool through. It's 3/4 inch hole. Additionally, there's a channel iron piece 4 inch wide with a single hole in the center, and then I have 2 bottle jacks, 8-ton bottle jacks, also from eBay or AliExpress. And then just a couple screwdrivers and pick for picking out the carbon. T40 for the hold down bolts. 14 millimeter for the injector lines and our ratchet. Also some penetrating fluid for those hold down clamps that are kind of stuck in there. That'll soften it up a bit. And compressed air is very helpful. Other than the penetrating fluid, I don't use any other chemicals.